I made it.
What's up, my brother?
Hey, how's it going?
Yes, you did. Good. How
Well,
are you?
well, it's hot.
Look like you ready to jump on a vintage street bike.
Me? Well, I've been cutting my own hair, so I kind of have to decorate my head with something. Otherwise, this looks better than the cut that I did myself.
So how many times have you cut it yourself?
I don't know, about every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I just get the clippers.
And just stop
Yeah.
buzzing.
Yeah. I don't go all the way down to the scalp. Just like a half inch.
It's
But
not
I
like a
cut the
number
ground.
2, number 3.
I don't know. I think it's like a 4. I don't pay much attention. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, my brother. How's your day?
It's been busy, kids, played with Duplos, made him lunch, made him breakfast, my son has, Minecraft play dates that I have to organize, and just another day in the life.
Yes.
Took him to the beach yesterday.
How was the beach?
That was good. We drove all the way up to Ventura, so because all the LA beaches are super crowded. So to go drive about an hour up north, and then you can just have more space, social distance and all. But yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was good to be cold.
And
The kids,
people are wearing masks?
well, in Ventura County, not as many as I would care for. But once you get onto the beach and kind of get your own space going, then you can kind of go mask free. But we wore masks, going to and from the truck.
And they had spaces for you to occupy, to stand, to sit in?
It's kind of the honor system. But, as soon as we get there, like, oh, well, there's nobody over there, so that's where we're going to be. And then, as soon as someone would come and invade our space, then we would move again. So, but, it wasn't bad.
Okay. So, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm David Johnson. I go by Sidecar Furniture. And I basically restore old chairs. I specialize in seat weaving. I have a woodworking background. I'm a graduate of the Krenoff School, then College of the Redwoods. I graduated in '97.
Okay, hold it.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to that. Just want
Okay.
to introduce yourself. We don't get your bio yet. So I'm gonna get into some questions.
Sure.
After the questions, then we can take your journey on how you got here and all that other good stuff with some questions from our other members who are participating.
Sounds good.
So you ready?
Yep.
Right. What word or phrase do you overuse?
Well, as a parent, I have to say no a lot. So,
So you say too much?
well, I don't want to be too much of a joy kill, but your kids are always testing their limits, and so you just have to be constantly reminding them of, you can't do that to your brother or sister, or you can't climb into the refrigerator or onto the kitchen table, or
So when you talk to your kids, do you say it in that tone?
Yeah, because things can escalate fast if you raise your voice. And yeah, it can really, yeah. You have to kind of keep a cool, calm voice, even if they're just losing it. Once you lose it, then they've won. Battle's over. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That makes me sound like a great parent, and I don't always meet that ideal, but that's what we aspire to.
Right. I failed.
Do you have kids?
Definition, I failed. Yeah, I got a 22-year-old.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have a 2 and a 9.
Right. And I still yell at them.
Yeah, but a 22-year-old, they can take it. Yeah, a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old, they're still a little sensitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite thing to do?
Least favorite thing to do, something I do regularly. A lot of little things, I would guess. Not a fan of putting on the duvet cover, yet I seem to be the person who always does it. Least favorite thing to do. That's hard to answer because I kind of find joy in doing even some of the most mundane things. Like I don't mind doing the dishes. You know, I don't mind sanding. I don't love sanding.
Paperwork?
Pardon?
Paperwork?
Paper? Yeah, I don't like paperwork. That's pretty universal. Yeah, QuickBooks. I don't like QuickBooks. I don't like doing my taxes. Yeah, none of that. I'm not the best at answering emails, so I guess I can be, you know, not the greatest. I don't like answering emails. I'm a lazy typist.
So, okay, if you don't like answering emails, what do you do for client inquiries?
Emails. Yeah, I have to. What I try to do is I just set aside a time in my day. Usually it's at the very end of the day, and I just do them all at once. Also, I try to train clients that I'm not immediately going to answer their email. You know, I tend to answer emails at the same time every day, kind of get people used to, you know, waiting a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to be interrupting yourself all the time.
You know what? That's probably smart.
It was
because when you don't respond to people, like I respond to people immediately, and I train them to wonder what is wrong if I don't respond in a few hours. So I need to work on that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, and especially if they're like arguing with you over price or something like that, you know, like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have bargained with him. He's not writing me back immediately.
What is your most favorite thing to do?
I like being outside in nature. Don't get to do it as often as I like to anymore, but just escaping the city, you know, especially living in the middle of Los Angeles, just getting out to where, you know, there's plants and trees and no pavement or asphalt. Yeah, I do like doing that.
What is the one thing your spouse would change about you?
One thing? Well, that's a better question. That's a better question for her. Well, how about the one thing I'd like to admit to? Probably that I didn't work so much, you know, under normal times. You know, now I, you know, work, you know, catch as catch can because all of it's at home. Like, you know, when the kids were at school and daycare and whatnot, I probably wish that I didn't try to work at night. There's a lot of little things to it.
All right. What makes you tick?
I like moving forward in my craft, to try to always get better at it. Yeah, just to always be learning. Otherwise, it'll just get pretty mundane and boring. You just get complacent. Like, well, I'm at the pinnacle. But to always be kind of striving and moving forward. You know, can't say I'm always doing that, but at least I like to think about it and just figure out new ways of doing things.
Okay. What makes you tick?
You just asked me that one.
What irks you the most?
What was that?
What irks you the most?
I kind of paused.
Same damn question.
What was the question again?
What irks you the most?
Like in other people or about myself?
Anything.
Anything? I would say in other people would be dishonesty. You know, people or, you know, that'll just give you an answer, you know, just for the sake of giving you an answer without just admitting that they don't know. Myself, I think I'm kind of hard on myself. You know, every time I finish a project, I take a step back and I'm only looking at all the mistakes or the little things that I could have done better. So I should probably not beat myself up, so much. Not only goes in stuff in the wood shop, but the kids or making dinner or whatever. Just to kind of accept that it is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta leave it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll never finish.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What sound makes you happiest?
My kids laughing.
How many?
2. Yeah, 2 kids.
You said that. What sound bothers you the most?
Well, over the weekend, I've been working with some salvaged fur, and whenever I run that saw blade into a nail that I didn't catch, it's pretty annoying.
Yeah, I would say so. That is.
Yeah. I'm sure that's something that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, all too familiar.
Yeah, you see those sparks shoot out. Yeah.
On the planer, on the jointer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both my planer and jointer need new knives, but until I'm done with all this fur, I'm just going to deal with the dullness. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to try?
Like if I were to reinvent myself?
Yeah.
Something with food, either in the production or the growing of it, or even raising food. Yeah. I like food, like to cook. Always curious about it. When I don't want to think about furniture, I usually think about bikes or food. But I already worked in the bike industry for many years, so.
Now, okay, we'll get into that.
Sure.
All right. What would you like on your tombstone?
I was trying to be ready for this one because I've heard you ask everyone else. And I can't come up with a good answer. I don't imagine myself having a tombstone.
That's what most people say.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, burn me up and sprinkle me out in the forest because that's where I want to be.
Most people say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could come up with something witty. I'm just not that creative. I'm going to go with the classics. Born in 68, died in, well, I'm not going to say that, but just keep it simple.
It.
Yeah, that's it.
What is the one thing about your personality that drives your business?
Perfectionism, which is kind of the opposite side of being hard on myself. I want everything to look as nice as it can be. I probably take it further than what most clients care about or notice. I probably all too often take it further than I'm getting paid to do.
I was about to say that's next.
Yeah. Oh, what's the next question?
Yeah. Well, no, I was about to say that if you're taking it further than it needs to be, probably further than you build for, it becomes a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. I started changing my billing structure though, like on how I bid things. So, but we can get into that later.
So explain.
So, mostly I restore chairs, and I used to break it down to do the seat would be this much. If it needs work on the finish, it would be this much. If it needs structural repair on it, it would be this much. But I do so many chairs that are identical or similar that I already know where they're going to break, or I can look at a chair and predict where it's going to break. So I just put that into the price. Like, you give me the chair, you're going to restore it in the way that I restore a chair, it costs this much. That way, I'm not people don't feel like I'm nickeling and diming them, or they're like, oh, well, the joinery doesn't need to be fixed. I'm like, well, it actually does. And if we're going to
sit in it.
Exactly.
If you're going to look at it, no.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I just include that in every chair. But I do give a disclaimer that, you know, if there's something outside of this, you know, I reserve the right to say this is, this, it's going to be a little bit extra, but usually it's not. So I only did that in the last few years, and it makes bidding much easier.
What is the one thing about your personality that hinders your business?
Perfection. Probably that I'm an introvert. You know, when I first got into it, I thought that, I'll just do it and my work will sell itself. But that's not the case. I need to be out there selling it. And that's not the easiest thing for me to do. The fact that I'm here talking to you, it's hard, I'm cool talking to you, but the thought that, everyone else is, eavesdropping on our conversation, I see all those names scrolling up and I'm just purposely ignoring them.
Yeah. Now let me tell you, Tom Semigoods,
yeah,
is the guy who told me to come and see you. He said you were the man.
I'm the man
of the week.
Well, that's flattering because Tom said that, because you see Tom and you met Tom.
He's the boss.
Yeah. He's good at anything that he puts his mind to.
Yes, and puts his hands on.
Yeah. The furniture, the motorcycles, I just, I'm looking forward to what will be next. Yeah, Tom's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who would you travel cross country on a motorcycle with?
I love motorcycles. Well, I don't have one now, but
okay,
like someone else.
Vintage or new?
I like the look of vintage motorcycles, but as I get older, disc brakes are good, electric start's good. I like the reliability of a new motorcycle. So if I were to get a new one, it would probably be, if I were to get another motorcycle, it would probably be something new, because I don't have the time to be messing with it. I just want to get in it and start it and go.
Start it and go.
Yeah, same goes with cars. So would the person be on the back of my motorcycle or be on their own motorcycle? Because that's a big difference.
On their own. You're right.
On their own?
Yeah, we had Federer Knives. He was like, I don't want anyone on the back holding me from behind.
Or commenting, or yeah.
Turn. So on another motorcycle.
I choose my friend Bert, because that's who we would travel. We would do motorcycle trips together when we were in college. Every spring break, we would usually travel up and down the California coast. Yeah, at the time I had a 74 BMW. He had a similar vintage BMW, and we would just go and just kind of camp out wherever. And when we would feel that we're at the halfway point, we would just turn around and go back. So it'd be nice to do that.
What was the longest trip you all have taken?
Never that far, because we only had about a week. And so, we do a lot of stops. So, it'd only be for about 5 or 6 days. So I don't know how many miles. Yeah, it's a lot to be on a motorcycle. I don't know how many miles that would be. I don't know, 1,000 or so. We would start, it's when I lived in the Central Valley. So we'd start from Fresno, make a beeline to the coast, and either go up or down. So we would go down to usually like Big Sur, or go up to the north coast, like the Mendocino area, hang out for a while, and then go back.
So would you ride to a town and get dinner, hang out in the town, camp, or would you just keep going on the bike, eat on the bike to a dark camp, then get up and keep going?
We would try to set up early, because it's easier to set up camp, in the day. And we would tend to just kind of go to grocery stores and things like that. We're college students, so we weren't like eating in restaurants and things like that. So, we'd like try to find a deli or something like that in town, and then just go take it back to the campsite. And, you can only ride a motorcycle for so long. I don't know how Tom does it. Have you seen the bikes that he rides? They're grossly overpowered, no suspension, one brake.
It's because he's tough.
He is. Tougher than me.
What was your favorite concert?
McCoy Tyner. That's getting a little obscure for most people. But he played with John Coltrane.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you.
He's great. I've seen him twice. And it was at Yoshi's in Oakland, which is a really intimate venue. And he's funny, and he picks excellent people to play with him. He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He picks, he allows.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also at that same venue saw Elvin Jones. And he's great too. And he passed away, but he is very much Elvin Jones with that, signature smile that he has. And, he had his drum set up there front and center, as a band leader. Yeah. Both those guys were great.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm lucky I got to see him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I missed Luther Vandross.
Mm-hmm.
I missed Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And these were people who were on my list, like, I need to go and see them the next time they're in town.
Mm-hmm. They never came back.
Nope.
I missed Miles Davis down the street from my house. And
come on, man.
I know. Yeah, right before he died, he started playing his old stuff because he would not play. And this is what I'm playing now, and so that's what I'm going to play for you. And he's kind of grouchy that way.
Yes.
But
he's genius.
Yeah, and he's an artist, and so he's going to do what he's going to do, and he's going to be excited about what he's doing currently. But he started playing the old stuff right before he passed away, and I missed it. Could have walked there.
Why didn't you go?
That was a long time ago. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't afford it.
You probably didn't get it.
Yeah, young and stupid. I was in my 20s.
Yep.
Not to offend anyone in our 20s. See, I need to be aware that other people are listening to our conversation.
Yeah. If you're in your 20s, you're probably young and stupid.
Yeah, hopefully smarter than me.
When was the last time you cried?
When my dad died. And that was just last Christmas. So.
Last Christmas?
Yeah, last Christmas, just a few months
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was harder on me than I would have expected it.
Were you all close?
We were close at the end, but for years, decades, we were not close at all. And I think that's what made it hurt the most, is that I let so much time go by for just holding a grudge. And that was hard.
What did you hold a grudge for?
My parents had a very bitter divorce, and just a lot of stuff that had happened at that time. After the divorce, they continued fighting, and the kids got caught in the middle of it.
As they do.
As they do. And, I turned 18 and left the Central Valley and didn't look back. So, I should have given him a second chance earlier. Because when I went back to meet him, and I met him at my brother's funeral. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, heavy. So, what could I do? So,
wait a second. You met him.
Or I re-met him. Yeah.
That's what you made it
him.
sound like.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you made it sound.
Yeah.
So how many years went by without talking?
Probably 20. Yeah. Not proud of that. But,
I'll give you mine. I held a grudge too. I'll give you mine, but go ahead.
Okay.
So 20 years, you go to your brother's funeral,
right.
and your dad's there.
Yeah.
What was that like? Okay, was your mom there as well?
My mom was there as well, and that's a complicated relationship too. And so, yeah, it was hard, on top of it was my brother's funeral.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was hard to navigate. Um, but, I did. And, you know, a lot of it was, a lot of it was focused on trying to keep the peace between them two.
They're still fighting? They were?
They were going to, you know. My dad wasn't going to start it. He was going to let water be under the bridge. But, my mom wasn't going to let it go. So, yeah, it was a tough day. It was a tough day. But the positive thing that came out of it is I got to be reintroduced to my dad, and I did get to spend some time with him. And
How much?
Probably about a good 10 years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's some good makeup time.
It was good some makeup time. But, he was quite old. So, the last 5 years of it, he was pretty sick, so he wasn't that active. So, he couldn't enjoy the grandkids that much. But,
So did you all talk about it, or did you just resume it like most of us dysfunctional people do, as if it never happened?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And also, he's, not that it's all on him, but, he's of that generation. You just don't talk about it. We touched on it a little bit, but, to put a positive spin on it, maybe we just wanted to enjoy each other. But yeah, we didn't talk about it too much.
Okay.
I didn't want to get him going either.
Well, okay. Remember the tone that you were talking about, how you talk to your kids?
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you, any subject you bring up in that tone
mm-hmm.
will result in a positive manner.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So my dad, who was not physically there, he was there to talk to, but most of the time he was doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an older brother, a younger brother who passed away.
Sorry.
And my dad remarried and has 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always doing his thing, being him.
Mm-hmm.
And I held a grudge for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think that affected you?
Not good. Because, it prevents you from communicating.
Yeah.
It prevents you from saying, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he passed away.
Sorry. How long ago?
3 or 4 years.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
And how was it between you toward the end?
He would call and check on me. I called check on him about 14 years ago when I first got my place in upstate.
Mm-hmm.
I sent the plane ticket to him, my grandfather, my brother, and my uncle. And he made an excuse to not show.
Mm-hmm.
And that bugged me. Because he had a free ticket. I paid for everything else. And I thought it would have been cool for my dad and my grandfather to build my house. And he didn't get it. So it was me, my uncle, my brother, and my grandfather, and we did it. And I don't know if I ever forgave him. We were cool after, we talked.
Mm-hmm.
But as I just stated with you, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
So enough about me. Let's go to the next question. This
Thank
will
you
be
for
about you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that though, because yeah.
When was the most difficult time in your business, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and the recession was hard, because that's right when we moved out. So
Okay, we'll get into that.
Yeah, from San Francisco. But I was new in town, and nobody knew me. And in Los Angeles, there was the writer's strike, which affected all businesses, because movies and all that, it's a big industry here. And then the recession happened, and my phone stopped ringing. And so I had to go back into the bike industry again for, a few years. And then
No, bicycle or motorcycle?
Bicycle, yeah. I worked at bike shops. And
were you a mechanic?
Yeah, I was a bicycle mechanic, and then I, service writer. Then I was a buyer for the service department at American Cycle in San Francisco. But my last bicycle industry job is I was a photographer for a wholesaler here in Los Angeles called Eurasian Imports, and I photographed their inventory. And it's a business they've been around for 40 years or so, and they have a deep catalog of old vintage stuff from the first Campanolo derailleur system to track racing stuff. And so I photographed their whole inventory to get put up online.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many pieces was that?
Thousands. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, they sell current parts too, but the fun stuff is the fun part was getting into the old stuff. And so yeah, that was great. But yeah, the recession was hard, and then transitioning from having a regular job to doing freelance work was hard. Like, okay, am I going to do this? Because now we have a kid and we have a mortgage, and it's it's not just me, responsible for myself. So fortunately, my wife has a steady job, and you know how it is freelancing. You're always curious if you're going to be around next year.
Yep.
But that happened 10-ish years ago, and still here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really lucky.
So do you ride bicycles?
Well, when my first was born, that really cut into riding. And then when my second was born, that pretty much ended it. And then, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was fit, and I'd ride every day, and that's what I lived for, was riding bikes. But so my wife thankfully said, you need to start riding a bike. You need to do something for yourself. And so I've been getting out one day a week, usually on Friday evenings. So yeah, when this is done, if they're okay upstairs, I'm gonna go on a ride.
What do you ride?
My favorite bike is my single-speed cross bike, and it's an all-city. And then I have a mountain bike. It's a hardtail. It's a Rock Lobster, handmade in Santa Cruz. I sold my road bike regretfully. But
Yeah, I have a small collection of bikes.
what do you have?
I have an old 70s Condor.
Mm-hmm. English.
Yep. Still have the sew-ups on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 80s Biaki
Okay.
Special Emo.
What group?
So Special Emo.
Mm-hmm. What's the grupo on it?
I don't know.
What era of the 80s?
I think it was 82, 83.
Okay, so it's still friction. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a bike from 1904 with wooden wheels.
Nice.
I have a 3-seater and a 4-seater.
4-seater, like a
Yeah.
4-seater cycle car, or a 4-seater like you tandem in a road.
4-seater bicycle.
That's crazy. Have you ridden it?
Have not.
How old is it?
It's an old French bike. It's got to be from the 70s.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, at American where I worked, they've been in continuous business since 1941, and started by a guy named Oscar Jr., who was a 6-day racer. He and his wife were 6-day racers, and he had owned it until the late 80s, and I've forgotten the name of the guy that bought it, and then Brad and Chemo bought it in the late 90s. Brad's really into bikes. And so we specialize in track bikes, vintage bikes. And so, yeah. We could talk bikes.
Cool.
We don't have to talk furniture. We might lose a few people.
Right. Do you have any black friends?
I don't. Not currently.
Okay.
Just you?
I'll take that.
Okay.
Do you often see people of color in your industry?
I see people of color in my industry. I don't see as many as I would like to.
Okay. Who would you like to have a conversation with?
I like talking to you.
I don't count. Who else would you like to have a conversation?
You can call me anytime. Yeah, we don't have to include all these other people. Who would I like to have a conversation with? Well, I'd like, I would like to talk to Hans Wegner. He'd be an interesting guy to talk to.
Okay.
I don't know if you'd like to talk to me. He seems like he'd be kind of grouchy.
Right. You know, and that's the thing that you get about this, right? Is that people who you may admire, you may look up to, you may think interesting, you don't really know them.
No.
So they could be none of those things.
Yeah. Maybe it's best to just leave him on the pedestal. But still, I like to experience him, you know, and maybe not have a conversation with him, just listen to him talk and be there in the room with him. But still, yeah, I'd like to talk to him. Just because he was such a design genius, and he did it for so long. And it'd be interesting to hear what he had to say.
I'm with you. All right, so here we are.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we get into your journey.
All right.
From high school, and take us to the things that led you to where you are now.
Okay. So it's on me? Go?
Go.
From high school?
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
If it wasn't interesting, we'll get past it fast.
Well, I live me, so I think none of me is interesting. I'm bored of me.
We're not.
Okay. Well, we'll ask that question when we're done. Well, I switched high schools in the middle of high school. I moved towns, so that's hard, but it's also kind of liberating, because what high school kid doesn't want to reinvent themselves a little bit?
A new start.
Yeah, new start. But that was in Fresno, which is the central part of California, which is, I think, the part of California that people don't really think about or notice, but that's where the food's grown. And so that's where I was born and where I grew up. I grew up rurally, just outside of Tulare, California. But, divorced family and moved a lot. Moved from Visalia to Fresno in the middle of high school. But even in high school, I was always fascinated with old stuff, things that preceded me, just antique things. And right after high school, I was the thrift store shopper in high school, buying old shirts and whatnot. And then, as soon as I turned 18, I got my own apartment. And, well, not 18? My own apartment, housemates. Yeah, moved out of the house. Yeah, I got housemates.
But still, 18 is young. And what, in college or just a roommate?
Not college. I took a look. I kind of went college hit and miss, but like roommate.
Wow.
It's cheap in the Central Valley, though. So it's not hard.
That's a big step, because what you're saying is I'm on my own.
Yeah, yeah.
And 18, that's young.
It is young. Yeah, it's fun. but, uh, but you know, so I started getting into furniture, you know, pretty early on, you know, in the thrift stores and things like that.
It's kind
But
of how I
then,
got started.
is it? Yeah, buying old stuff, outfitting your house.
My mom
I,
was a huge thrift store, garage sale shopper. Huge,
your mom was?
huge.
Yeah, and you know, fast forward to I moved out of the Central Valley and went up to Santa Cruz um, for the cycling, basically, and started going to college seriously at a junior college that's outside of Santa Cruz, Cabrillo College.
How old were you?
At that time, I was 23,
Okay.
and then you know, I was interested in furniture. I always wanted to know how to make furniture, but I never knew how to start. My dad was a Chevy mechanic and owned a Shell station in the 70s. And so,
Your dad was a Chevy mechanic?
yeah. And then, yeah, through like the 50s and 60s. And yeah, I always remember my grandfather. Both sides of my family are from East Texas. And so my grandfather, you know, sitting in his 69 Burgundy Ford Ranchero.
I want to pause you. I want to
Yeah.
pause you for 2 seconds. Philip Marley, who's
Yeah.
from who is in East Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He's from London.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed him, and I asked him the questions about black friends. He had none. So East Texas stuck in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days later, I get an article. I read an article that they took down the fence that segregated blacks and whites in a cemetery.
When?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, someone's at my door. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Now it's just me. Texas is huge. Yes, Texas is huge. All right. I don't know what to say now. Give you guys a tour around the shop. Old chairs. I can hear his door coming back.
Sorry about that. We lock our door because of COVID, and we don't want people just walking in.
Oh, it's that public.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And it was UPS.
Oh,
So someone wants to know, what part of East Texas are you from?
oh, I was born in the Central Valley, but my grandparents on both sides they left East Texas from the Dust Bowl, and my dad is from Marshall, Texas, and my mother's parents, I'm not sure exactly where they're from. I think they're more northern Texas, like Amarillo area.
Okay.
And you know, they left during the Dust Bowl and lived in the orchards that they picked fruit in. And then where did we get onto Texas?
You were talking about East Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Your parents were from East Texas.
Yeah, my parents. Yeah. So yeah, they're from East Texas, and I can't remember where we got to that from. So many tangents. But anyway, the cemetery. Let's hear about that.
Yeah, no, I'm reading, and I'm this article that said that they're finally taking a fence down that separated the dead black people and the dead white people. And I'm like, why wouldn't you take that down in the middle of the night and not tell anyone?
They did it in the middle of the night?
No, they should have.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't announce that.
Mm-hmm.
That they still have that in 2020.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but back to your story.
It's a step, at least, I guess.
It is. It's a good step.
Yeah. So where was I? Well, anyway, antiques and Cabrillo College, and but I was studying art history, But I always preferred working with my hands more than studying and such. And so I started segueing into art, started taking more studio art classes. I was doing a lot of drawing, metalwork. Um, but there wasn't a wood shop that just wasn't being used. And so I just was curious about it and inquired about it and just started using it. And I used it so much that it kind of became my shop. And the person that ran the tool room, like an art school, you go check out a tool, and someone that organizes all that. He was an early student and teacher at the College of the Redwoods. And so I was looking at art schools and, universities and things like that, but I was always intimidated by the cost. I didn't want to get that much in debt for an art degree or furniture degree or anything like that.
Prohibitive.
And so he said, there's College of the Redwoods through the community college system. I think you would like it. And it's this guy named James Krenov. And so he gave me the James Krenov books. And, I read them. It really resonated with me. And he helped me build a portfolio and wrote a letter. And I had only been woodworking for maybe a year and a half. And then I found myself at the College of the Redwoods. And yeah, a little bit of imposter syndrome, on the first day.
You got in.
Yeah, but I got in, and I kept my mouth shut. I stayed in the corner. I didn't want anyone to find out. And it's also my nature, wallflower. And I did that. I only did it for a year. I thought long and hard about a second year, but I had only done College of the Redwoods, and I'd only done woodworking for College of the Redwoods. And so I wanted to get out on my own and kind of experiment, and I always thought that I would go back. But
so
I
hold
didn't.
on.
Yeah.
So you're in College of the
Correct.
Redwoods. Mm-hmm. And you leave because?
Well, it's a 9-month program.
Yep.
It's a 9-month program, 6 days a week. And it's about 22, 23 students, something like that. And then you apply, and a handful of students can do a second year. And that second year is basically independent study. And so I really wanted to do a second year because it's fun to do woodworking 6 days a week, and that's all you do, and you're up there on the Mendocino coast where it's gorgeous, and the school just attracts great people. But I just wanted to see what else I could do and just kind of take all the things that I had learned in those 2.5 years of, my study at Cabrillo and my 9 months at College of the Redwoods. And just kind of
now, did you apply? Did you apply for the second year?
I did, and then right before they made their decision, I pulled out.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up.
Well, plus you're also living in the red. I would have had to borrow money to do that thing.
So is that the real reason that you didn't? Did you cop out?
Well, I was also dating someone in the program, and we broke up at the end of the year. She lived there, and she worked at one of the 2 grocery stores. And so I just wanted to get back to my life in Santa Cruz too.
From what you were telling me, I didn't think there was
that.
Yep. From what you were
but
telling
I
me,
also did want to go back. I also did want to go back.
It didn't sound like you had a real reason to leave because of all of the running around it. So I figured I'd slow you up and we talk about that.
All right. You're a good interviewer, Robert.
Well, the thing that I've studied most in my entire life are people. Mm. That's it. Mm-hmm. So this is just me having a conversation with someone, and something doesn't sound right, so you pick at it a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna raise my guard against you.
All right, so you leave College of the Redwoods. Mm-hmm. You go back to
Santa Cruz.
All right, and then what?
I go back to working in my bike shop, and I start renting woodshop space in a great wood shop that was shared with two other College of the Redwoods graduates, one of them being that instructor that got me started, and a guy that made custom ukuleles. And great
Nice.
shop, nice and big, yeah. And I worked out of that for quite a while. And I think I rushed getting into being a full-time professional woodworker. And so, I got a few commissions here and there, um, but I didn't really cut my teeth well enough, nor did I explore what I liked doing well enough. Um, that's kind of a tangent, but that is also at the same time where I taught myself how to weave seats.
There we go.
And so, because on my year, Mark Edmondson was in his second year, and he made his bench that was in fine woodworking, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago.
And another pause. Speaking of fine woodworking, you're in it currently.
Thank you. Yeah, I am. I have an article in the current issue. Yeah. And so I saw him weave that bench in Danish cord, and I liked that. I just liked the process. I liked adding another element to wood, and so he said, "This is the book," and so I got the book, which is the Caner's Handbook by Miller and White S, and I made this little stool, just like this boxy square stool, so I'd have something to weave on. And I taught myself how to weave. And that stool was the basis for the stool that is in this month's issue of Fine Woodworking.
Do you still have the original?
I don't, but I do know the people that have the original. And at that time, if you would have told me that this stool that I made just to practice on would be my entry point into Fine Woodworking magazine, I would not have believed you. So, after all these years, the stool has changed and evolved. It's gotten a little, the legs rake and play out a little bit. Everything's gotten a little more round. Proportions have changed, just as my tastes and skills have changed. From that shop, I then rented a garage that I lived in. I set up my own space in there.
So you lived and worked in a garage?
Yeah. Behind an old Victorian, about 4 blocks from the beach. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It doesn't sound bad.
It was not bad.
We as Americans consume way too much, and the past several months have showed us that.
Yeah.
A garage, living in, working in, beach a few blocks down the street. What else do you need?
Yeah, it was
besides
nice.
a bicycle.
Yeah, well, I had those. Yeah, and I had a motorcycle.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, I had all my records, which a wood shop and your record collection is not a good pair.
No.
So yeah, I put up a curtain. That helped a little bit. And so I did that for a while, and then gave up where did I go from there? I moved back up to Mendocino for a summer, painted houses, and worked in a bike shop up there, and then went back to Santa Cruz, and then from Santa Cruz, I met my now wife, and we moved to San Francisco together in 2000.
How'd you meet?
We were housemates. No, we were housemates. And but we didn't start dating at that time. But we did decide to move up to the Bay Area at the same time. And then so we moved up to the Bay Area and then started dating. We lived in separate places. I lived in the Lower Haight. Are you familiar with San Francisco?
No, I've been there once.
Okay. I lived in the Lower Haight, and I rented a closet that was just so dank and moldy. I lived there for like a month. and I worked at a cabinet shop, and my boss said, I have a friend who's a chef that has this great house in Oakland. And so I moved there, and no mold, and I had a chef for a housemate, and I lived, you know, at the top of the hill in Oakland, which was great. And then I worked at the cabinet shop for, I don't know, year and a half. And then I started feeling it on my body. I started getting a shoulder injury. I think just from, you know, holding the cordless screwdriver at odd angles and crawling around and carrying stuff, and, you know, on top of all the mountain bike crashes that I'd done before that. And so I decided to leave the cabinet shop and went back to the bike shop, and that's when I worked at American Cyclery. And then I just got my own. I shared a wood shop with a guy that was in a San Francisco basement, underneath the restaurant in the corner of a parking garage. And then from there, I got space on the decommissioned Alameda Naval Air Base. Is this boring?
No. This is your journey.
Like I'm giving too much detail. But at that Naval Air Base, that was a cool space, and it's still operating right now. And it was ran by Leon, who has a Greek last name that I can not remember well, who is just very much a character, and ran by a guy named Dean Santner, who is a great woodworker and just a saint of a person. And we were in a space that was where they worked on the jet engines. And so it was two huge areas that had the whole infrastructure for moving heavy things around. And so if you wanted to borrow someone's, you know, massive planer or mill or something like that, you know, you just hook it up to the chains and just wheel it over to your space and put it back down. And then I worked there for maybe about 2 years. And it was there when I had left the bike industry and started working full-time woodworking again. And at that time, I also was doing work at the caning shop, or at the caning shop in Berkeley.
All right, so I'm going to pause you.
Sure.
We're at 1 minute and 42 seconds. Instagram cuts us off.
Okay.
So let's just hop off.
Okay.
And hop back on, because it sounds like we're about to get into the caning part.
Okay. So just X out and then just wait for you to start another live video?
Yep. Yeah. Let me X out first, because if you X out, we can't save it.
Got it.
So I'm going to X out. We're going to get off and get right back on.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Part 2.
All right.
Okay, so you start working at this caning shop.
Yeah. So I'm working, you know, still trying to do commissions and whatnot through the shared wood shop at the air base, and I'm buying all my materials at the caning shop. They see me as a repeat customer, and so they're like, "Well, you kind of must know what you're doing. You sure are buying a lot of stuff." So they hired me on with what they call a contract, and so any of their extra work they would give to me. And they would also give me chairs that had chair frames broken. So they would tend to give me all the chairs that are coming apart and things like that. So that's where I
worst.
Pardon?
The worst chairs.
The worst, yeah, the ones that nobody wanted to do. So that's where I really learned and got good at repairing furniture. And that's where I got good at hand caning, because I didn't know how to do hand caning until then. So he taught me how to hand cane chairs. And so I would do about 2 to 3 hand cane chairs a week. And so yeah, it's a lot of work to hand cane a chair. I don't do it that often anymore. I don't know, that's just not the work that comes to me. But I'm glad I did it then, because it's pretty much second nature. And so I did that for quite, I don't know, somewhere in the range of 1 or 2 years. And then we decided to move down here. And then I just kind of we moved down here because my wife works in film. and she wanted to get a better film job here than she could get up in the Bay Area. And we wanted to have kids and buy a house, and in San Francisco, it's an expensive city, and so it's not impossible, but it's not easy either. And
Right.
so yeah, we came down here, and just as I got like the biggest commission ever, and I was already packing up boxes, and so I'm like, sure, I can do it. And so I set up my shop in my brother-in-law's garage.
So what commission was this?
It was 2 beds and 5 or 6 counter stools for a house out in the Hamptons near you. So,
Well, look at that.
yeah, look at that. And so I wasn't gonna say no to that guy, and he was great to work for. And
Okay, so this guy in San Fran had a house in the Hamptons.
he lived in New York City, and he had his weekend house in the Hamptons. And he it was one of those referral, like a friend of a friend type of thing. And is how I how I met him and how he found out about me. So yeah, I got to talk to him. I met him once when he was visiting that friend in San Francisco. So I built that job in my brother-in-law's garage, and tried to get established in LA. Started doing trade shows. This was before Instagram was really a thing, and before I was really on social media. I really did not get into Facebook and stuff that much, being kind of a private person.
So doing trade shows, that's where Tom and Jared talk a lot about sometimes, I guess, crossing paths. Did you ever meet any of them at any of them?
That's where I met Tom. My first trade show in LA was at Dwell and Design in 2008, 9, somewhere there. And he was in the booth next to me. And
I think he talked about that.
Yeah, and I show up, I set up my modest little booth, I sit there, and nice and quiet, and I'm just watching Tom just go, because he's a character. And
yeah, turn up.
Yeah, he just turned it on, and his booth looked great, and he's a salesperson. He's chatting everybody up.
Good looking dude. The whole
good looking dude. Yeah, this was before all the tattoos, I believe, or before a lot of them. And he had woven pieces in his thing. He saw me, and I had woven stuff, and he's like, wow, who does it for you? I'm like, I do it myself. Like, he's like, oh, I hired this guy. You should just do it yourself, man. It's not that hard. And he's like, oh, okay. And the rest is history. I kept in contact with him ever since. But yeah, that was at Dwell and Design. I think I did Dwell and Design before. I did it 3 times. And then there was another local show called Kaboom out in Santa Monica. I don't do trade shows anymore. They're expensive. Yeah. And so fortunately, now there's Instagram and the internet. People see me for free.
Absolutely.
But I slowly, and right after that, that was a recession and all that. So I struggled to stay afloat. But during that downtime, I worked, for Euroasia photographing stuff. We bought a house, we had a kid, and then I quit doing the photography work. I don't know, all the years blend together. Probably 2010, 2011, something like that. And then I've just been here working in my garage, behind the house. Yeah, my space is tiny.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is most of your work restoring or
Yes.
making? Okay.
Yeah, restoring. Yeah. I started out, it was kind of an arrogant thought that, I would be making furniture, custom stuff, and I'd just do a little restoration work on the side. But that is completely flipped. Doing restoration work is just a better business model. I mean, making custom furniture is a hard game. Um, you know, I mean, you really have, I mean, on top of being extremely talented, um, you know, you just have to know how to hustle it. I mean, you know, look at Philip, you know, I mean, or Phil, why do I call him Philip? Phil, you know, he has a great product, but he also knows how to market it.
Yeah, you have to be able to do both. You can't just do one.
Yeah, you can't just do one. And so I'm not the best marketer. I'm not the best person to be selling my stuff. You know, somehow I managed to do it. But the restoration work is it's just really working out for me just to keep the lights on and to keep an income going. Like I said, I do a lot of similar work. And so I don't really have to go through that whole bidding process. You know, when someone asks you to make something, especially when you specialize in custom, you know, you don't know how much it's going to be, really, to make
Right.
it. You know, you can do a best guess. You can spend a lot of time trying to come up with a bid only in order for them to say no, or you can ask them for a design fee, which a lot of people don't want to pay. You know,
Exactly.
it's you know, there's all kinds of ways to do it. A lot of them are really hard to do, especially when you haven't made a name for yourself. Um, yeah, the restoration work has really enabled me to work out of my wood shop. I do miss making new pieces. You know, it's fun. It's fun to be a woodworker. You know, and I still manage to do it here and there. But I primarily do restoration work, which actually works out really well because I now only work late nights because my wife has a regular job. I watch the kids by day, and then, you know, once everyone's tucked in, I come out here and work.
How long does it take you to weave a chair?
Depends on the chair. Like a Danish cord dining chair, you know, anywhere from 3 to 5 hours.
Okay.
A hand cane chair, probably about 10. You know, some of the lounge chairs, you know, those can take about 20 hours.
That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. Yeah, it is a lot of time. Yeah.
So, what's the oldest chair that you restored?
The oldest chair.
Do you pay attention to that?
I certainly notice. You know, I'm in LA. It's not that old part of a country, so I don't really get. You know, I get you know, around here something from the 20s or 30s is super old.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get stuff from the 1800s or, you know, stuff like that. I have a customer right now. I'm going through all of his Hitchcock chairs, and as soon as I finish this set of Hitchcock chairs, he has a Windsor chair that needs some work on it. So that will probably be the oldest chair. That thing's cool. I want to get my hands on it. You know, there's all kinds of, like, you know, Babish marks and things like that. And so I just kind of want to get to hang out with it.
How many Hancock chairs?
9. I did a set of 9 for him, and then he had some. I can turn you around. You can see on the bench. Can you see the bench?
Yeah.
There's one right there on the bench. He had a set of 9, and then these went through flood, and he had 5. And so I'm getting those 5, and I'm able to get enough parts to make 3 of them, which is hard because I knew it. You know, while he and I are standing there, and I told him, I know those look like the same chair, but I guarantee you, once we take them apart, they're not the same chair. You know, they're all going to be a little bit different, and so I've had to, you know, do a lot of mixing and matching of parts just to figure out which ones will work together, so I can make 3 from the set of 5. And once I'm done with those, then I can get to the Windsor. So,
where do your clients come from?
I get a lot of my work off Instagram. Excuse me. Most of them are local. A lot of word of mouth stuff. I ask everybody, how did you hear about me? And if it's not from Instagram, like, you know, so-and-so told me, and that person, you know, follows me on Instagram or something like that. Most of them are here in Southern California. But I do get people shipping me stuff, need some chairs, just some wishbones just left for Texas, for Austin, Texas last week. I have some chairs here from another town in Texas. I can't remember. Small town, Texas, big state.
Very big state.
It's huge. And I had a client, she's German, and she had some Hans Wegner chairs that she grew up with, and her parents willed her the chairs. So the chairs got shipped to me from Germany, and then I boxed them up and shipped them up to her up in Seattle. So some chairs, you know, sometimes I get stuff coming from the Bay Area. Sometimes people will drive stuff down from the Bay Area, but mostly it's LA.
When you get stuff, have you ever run into anything that was obscure, something you've never seen before, super complex?
I can hear my daughter screaming, so she might barge in here.
Tell her
She's
what's
super
up.
cute.
Tell her hop on.
Tell her no. Have I come across stuff that's complex? Yeah. You know, I'm assuming my clients aren't listening, but sometimes I get people that show me stuff like, can you do this? Like, sure, I can do that. And then I get into the shop and I'm scratching my head. Okay, how do I do this?
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. You know, just take it apart backwards and take a lot of pictures and, you know, but yeah, I have come across some. I have come across a lot of weaves that I haven't known how to do. A lot of like the binder cane weaves. There's one, it's an Ib Kofod Larson chair where the seat and the back are integrated, and it just does all this crazy stuff around the borders. And that was hard. I was so intimidated by it because there's so many minute little steps that I cut out half the seat, like, you know, one side of the seat, and then I practiced by reweaving the other side. And just to kind of, okay, I got a feel for this. I figured it out. Now I can cut the whole thing out. That was not a very profitable job.
No.
But now I know how to do it. And so now people send them to me. And so a guy saw that online. He's like, oh, you're the only person that I've seen that's redone it. And he sent me his chair from Florida. And then I was able to bid it. And so I knew how much to charge.
Correctly.
Yeah,
Right.
correctly. Yeah, so now I'm the guy for those. So
Cool.
yeah. So yeah, stuff like that comes up. I like that I get to take part. You know, I get to take chairs apart, and I get to handle chairs that most people don't get to handle. You know, I've got to, you know, mess with George Nakashima chairs and sit on them and things like that. And the only George Nakashima chairs that haven't been in my wood shop have been in museums, and you know, I can't sit on that or take it
Right.
apart. Right. So, and all the Hans Wegner chairs and chairs that I can never afford, you know, that just comes to me. So
That's pretty
you know,
cool.
yeah, and I may look like the expert on like IDing chairs because so many come through here, and I say, oh, this is such and such chair, but really the client tells me what it is. So, yeah.
You, Tom, Morning Works, Philip, the other gentleman who does caning. Do anyone on the East Coast do caning and weaving?
Like a furniture maker? I mean, there has to be. Well, there's Peg Woodworking. Have you put her on your list of people to talk to? She's in New York.
Peg?
Peg, P-E-G, Woodworking.
I'll have to check her out.
Yeah. She does a lot of really cool geometric patterns in cotton rope. But to my knowledge, she doesn't do repairs and things like that. But she does great work. There's shops. I mean, there's a Country Seat. They're based in Pennsylvania, I believe. Are there places? No one's coming to mind.
No, I'm talking about guys like you, guys like Tom, guys
Like furniture makers.
Yeah, furniture makers.
There has to be, but no one's coming to mind right now. There's the people that do like the traditional work, like Jeff Klivowitz, David Duyard, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they we've seen.
I signed up to take one of his chair making classes.
That's cool. Yeah, I would love to do that. But I have to keep a pretty short radius because the kids are so young. So yeah, they're the people that do the traditional stuff. There's Seat Weaver, like Silver River Chairs, Randy and Dave, but they're a repair shop. They're in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, they jumped on.
They jumped on. So you're gonna talk to them? Yeah.
No, they were on here.
Oh, they're on here. Oh,
yeah, Silver River Chairs. Yeah, he's on here.
Okay. You know, as soon as we get off, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that person, and then I'm gonna feel really bad.
So, what's next for you? What do you want to do? What haven't? Is there any one seat you haven't repaired that you'd like to?
I would like to start doing more wicker work. You know, I've only done a little bit of it. You know, I get people asking me to repair the wicker chairs. Wicker chairs are really complex. And that's something that I just don't quite yet feel confident taking someone's chair apart and then, you know, having to figure it out. So I need to do it on my own stuff. The thing I like about it is that it's so sturdy and it's so sculptural. You know, you can make, you know, complex curves in it without having too much of a frame on it. I would like to start making some of my own speculative chairs. While I'm not making chairs, you know, I like drawing and designing chairs, and so I have no shortage of ideas, things to make, but just not much time. And, you know, when there's just so many chairs that I have to repair, you know, I make people wait a long time. My turnaround time is really slow. You know,
how long is your turnaround time?
Months, sometimes a year. I stopped taking work for the rest of 2020 because, you know, my pace slowed down so much. And now I have a list for 2021 and there's, I think, about 6 people on that. So right now I'm booking for late spring of next year.
That's good.
That is good. Yeah. A little stressful too, though. You know, you want to turn stuff around. Most people are cool about it. A lot of people are like, well, that thing's been in the garage broken for a decade. You know, what's another year? But other people are like, well, that's my kitchen and I need it to sit on. So who else do I call? You know, I happily tell them, you know, who can help them out. I don't need to hoard all the broken chairs. There's no shortage of them. But yeah, I would like to start making some of my own stuff. But it, you know, most likely I'll end up taking all those pieces to my grave. And, you know, the last thing we need in our tiny house is another chair. You know, we have enough. We have chairs in storage.
That are yours or someone else's?
That are mine.
So you have a collection of old chairs that you need to restore?
I do have some that I need to restore. Yeah. A friend of mine in Visalia who, you know, he's another thrift store shopper, and he's like, you know, I see some of these chairs that I see you restore, and it's a full set of Moeller chairs, and they're $15 each, and I'm like, buy them.
Yeah,
buy them now.
I always say some stuff you cannot afford to leave.
Right. And he's like, oh, well, you know, tomorrow they'll be 30% off, so they'll be $10 tomorrow. And, you know, because he's in that thrift store mindset. You know, I could save $5 a chair on these, you know, 6 chairs at $30. And I said, you know, restored, that's like a $2,000-$3,000 set of chairs. He's like, oh, they'll still be there. And
wow.
So,
no, I'm with you. Get them chairs, man.
Yeah, get them. And so, but he waited a day, and you know, we got, you know, those chairs for $60, and they're still broken in the shed for 5 years. But I did restore one of them. So I did a blog for Fine Woodworking for how to fix dowels, and so I did that as my demo chair. So I restored one of them, and that was right at the beginning of the COVID lockdown, and I was stressed. You know, that COVID is scary.
COVID is still scary.
It's still scary, yeah. And so, yeah, we were being super cautious. It's making pickup and deliveries easier. Like, you bring it to me, you drop it inside the gate,
Leave it. I'll pick it up.
And leave it. Yeah, I'll come get it. And so, you know, I got to restore a chair for myself. But now, like, where do I, you know, it's kind of too nice to be in my house, you know. I have an 85-pound dog and 2 young rambunctious kids. So it's in the shed.
All right. So with that being said, can we get a tour?
You want to tour the shop?
Of course.
Oh, well, it won't take long. Let's see. How do I do this? Should I flip the camera around?
Yeah.
Okay, if I hang up on you. There we go.
Bingo.
Wall. Let me take you off. Well, that's Bowie.
What's up, Bowie?
Yeah, sleeping in her bed under the shop. She's a little shy. Oh, she wants to get pet. Can't turn down Bowie. That's a sweetheart. All right. We'll just hold it on Bowie for a while because everybody likes her. Let me start turning on lights. So you walk in, bikes, underneath that tarp are some chairs that have been abandoned. I don't know what to do with them. Planer. I have, this is my dad's router from the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's special. Let me turn on some lights. Back up. But you have to back up. I can only back up so far. So that's where I mainly do all the weaving.
Okay.
And that's just a knockdown table. Those are 2 Volther chairs that I'm in the middle of working on. Lumber, spare doors from the house. Then as we walk in, this chair. That's my workbench. That's an old steel kitchen cabinet with just a wood top that I put on there. That's what's next. I'm gonna make this workbench for myself. That's tool wall. This is my temporary wood storage shelf. It's about 15 years old. Get used to looking at temporary. Broken chair. Hitchcock. My 82 Powermatic.
Very nice.
And as we go around, Hitchcock I'm working on. I don't know who designed that. Some Hans Wegner CH31s, I believe. I'll give you a tour of the bike since you're a bicycle person.
Yep.
Then the bandsaw. That's it. My shop is like 16 feet from one wall to the other. Square.
Do you ever think about hiring help?
No.
Why not?
I like working by myself. I probably wouldn't be the best boss. And everything, and that employee would probably cost me quite a lot of money before they would start, earning me money. And I work out of my garage. Like everything would have to change.
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of like being by myself. Put Tom right. Don't forget the multi-router. All right, Tom. Multi-router.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, there's a sander. So that's it. Bandsaw. But the bike. That's late 1930s Silver King. It's an aluminum bike. A true barn find. Very few of them survived the war because most of them got melted down. And this thing is amazingly original. I got it I was working a bike swap meet in San Francisco. But
Wow.
It is cool. Yeah. Someone only rode it long enough to wear out the tire. And it has...
Wow.
It's reverse, but that says war tire on it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's super flimsy. But skirt guard, I can't climb up there, but tell me if you can see the head badge. There's a real Art Deco head badge on there.
Yep, beautiful.
Yep. So more bike
Yeah.
art.
Yep, yeah. Caleb asked a question and I didn't get it.
What's
Caleb,
up?
Caleb, I was asking about guys on the East Coast that do weaving like Key and Semi Goods and Mark.
Caleb, that's the person that we forgot. Sorry, Caleb.
He's like, excuse me?
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah. He's a nice guy. He'll forgive us. All right, you want to come back to me? That's the shop. These are some Krenov planes. The wood for this one, given to me by James Krenov himself.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I showed up on my bench and, in his scratchy handwriting, he's like a plane body maybe. And so, when James Krenov tells you to do that, you do it. And so I dropped everything. I made this, and then I shown it to him, and he just kind of looks at it, feels all the edges, and then just puts it down, shrugged his shoulders, walks off. So that's approval from James Krenov. He didn't complain about it. All right, you want to come back to me or anything else you want to see?
You got anything?
Not a whole lot. I should have done that. I'm not going to show you the mess that is my shed.
Okay, now let me ask. How long would it take for you to run in the shed and get it?
Let me go get the stool, and I'll go get it.
All right,
okay?
Perfect.
All right. Let me put this.
I'll try and keep them busy.
I have you on my tripod. Pardon me. Chloe's still here? No, she's gone. No, she left. We'll let you admire my multi-router.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, I gotta get the keys. All right, give me a minute.
All right. Good. One Golden Feather, what's up? What's up? Where are you all from? Let's do a check-in with location while he went to get this finished shirt for us to see. Silver Returns, thank you. You're in Asheville, North Carolina. Got it. I'm trying. What's up, LA? I'm in Yonkers, New York. Austin, Texas. Calvert John Woodworks, what's up? Q-Creations, Colorado. Fresno. Mission Viejo. What's up, Tom? What's up, David? We were just talking about you. Wait a minute. I don't think Brazil have more? Brazil doesn't have more than we do right now. I'm not going to let you own that. It's America, baby. We got more COVID cases.
I don't think that's a contest we want to win.
He's in Brazil, and he said #1 COVID state in the world.
It is rough there, that's for sure.
So Brazil has tons of chairs and tons of food.
There we go. Is that in frame? I'll just move it around, but try to keep it.
Yes, Tom, so much winning.
#1.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's it. That's the seat I wove on camera in front of Ben. So it's in ash. Got the ash from Bonhoff Lumber here in Los Angeles, a great lumber yard. I love working in ash. You probably get a lot of ash, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, yeah. As an emerald, borer beetle, on the East Coast?
That thing is
Is
everywhere in
it?
the world, like
Yeah.
COVID.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so work in ash while you can. But pan around. Some of the small details like
Tom
on my
said it
seats
reminds
or
me
like
when,
that
when
little.
you all first met.
Yeah. Yeah, he saw like the original versions of this, you know, where everything was kind of boxy and stuff like that. Now everything kind of splays out just a little bit. I mean, barely enough to see it.
That's gorgeous.
Thanks. But now I leave all my tool marks. I don't really sand anything anymore. So just the chisel marks on the top and the plane marks on the side.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. So, you know,
And why?
it's fun.
Is that a style you want? A signature?
Yeah. I mean, in this day and age when everything's so manufactured and so perfect, I want someone to experience one of my things and really notice that it was hand done. I mean, I use machines, of course, but you know, hand finished, I should say. You know,
Right.
a person made it. I think it makes the product more human, and plus, it's an enjoyable thing to do. And to help make it up for Caleb, I shaped all the legs with the smoke shave, which is right there. It's a great tool.
Okay, now let me ask you,
Yeah.
with all of the chairs that you repair,
Mm-hmm.
did that make you want to leave your signature on it like this?
I mean, I'm not
Like,
like all the chairs.
because repairing all the chairs, were they too finished and did look handmade, and you decided that you would go this way?
Not necessarily. I think one big reason that I like doing this is I also enjoy it. I think a part of, you know, creating your own style is doing the things that you enjoy doing over and over. You know, back when I worked on job sites, someone that hung drywall told me, be careful with what you get good at. Yeah, because he hangs drywall, which is a drag.